Hello and welcome to Bear Necessities. My name is Bear, and today we're going to continue our series on DOF skills and spells with the tank archetype. If you're interested in the other archetypes, please check out the description below, but we're going to dive right into it with tanks, starting with warriors and the Berserker class. At level 52, Berserkers get insolence. Also keep in mind a lot of these green things on the abilities, they will not be there. I am testing this on live servers just because it's easy to create the characters and actually show them. Also the damage numbers, I'm on a level 100, so that's why the damage numbers are so high. But at level 52, Berserkers get insolence. This is essentially just a blue AoE damage ability that also greatly increases threat. Anytime you're hit, it also gives you a 50% chance to also gain more threat. This thing has a huge range. It pretty much makes everything stick to you. Great ability for Berserkers. Also does some decent damage as well. I'll go ahead and kind of show it there. As you can see, does a ton of damage. But also at level 55, Berserkers get Vision of Madness. This is essentially just a self death save. The good thing about it is it's it stays on you, has a 2 minutes and 30-second recast. But pretty much when you die, it heals you, and then it heals you more if you're Berserk, and less if you're not Berserk. Later on, you get AAs, of course, that reduce the damage done to you after you revive as well. But it's not super great before the AoEs or before the AAs because it heals you for such a small amount that often you just die again right after it. But it gets better over time, and it's better than nothing. So, and finally at level 58, Berserkers get Open Wounds. Open Wounds is pretty outstanding. Gives you 100% AoE auto attack for a bit of time. It also does AoE damage, and it also, it gives you some haste. So when you couple this with like Rampage, it will literally just destroy AoE packs of mobs, because you're going to be AoE auto attacking, you're going to be attacking more often because of the haste, and so you're just going to be an AoE damage machine. There's not a whole lot to attack here, but yeah, you can see here it does a bunch of AoE damage, and then it makes every auto attack also do AoE damage. Alright, that's it for Berserker. Let's move on to Guardians. For Guardians, at level 52, you get Reinforcement. This spell's pretty insane. It makes it so every hit increases your threat priority, and it also taunts. It makes it so you pretty much never lose aggro while this is up. Also, if there's a threat drop on a mob, or like a threat swap, it makes it so getting back aggro pretty quickly is pretty easy. So it lasts for 13 seconds. It can be improved by AAs later, but very good spell, and will help you keep aggro as a Guardian. At level 55, you get Sentry Watch. This is an interesting spell. It's essentially it's really good for like AoEs, because what it essentially does is if anyone else dies in your group, it will reduce damage to the target, and it'll heal them for a certain amount of HP. And then it says when damage with this spell will cast Reinforcement on the target's attacker, so it essentially gives you threat as well. So if someone in your group, like, I don't know, gets aggro, you throw up Sentry Watch, they die, it'll essentially swap back to you. Pretty good for like AoE situations as well, where someone may get one shot by an AoE because they may be low. It will save their life and also give you more aggro. Pretty interesting spell, but still limited in its usages in that sense. And then at level 58, you have Tower of Stone. This spell is just pretty much amazing. It's definitely a class-defining skill for Guardians. It's a 4 hit Stone Skin. It does have to be for hits that are greater than 10% of your max health. So wonderful against raid mobs. This is just a great all-around ability. It can be used when you get big debuffs on you. Like there's certain debuffs in later expansions that actually will like de-level you, or will put like reduce your mit greatly. And so having Tower of Stone up for situations like that will is great. It makes it so that you're not going to die during those big debuffs. Also, whenever you're just pulling a pack of raid mobs or pulling a boss, it gives time for your healers and your raid to position and get debuffs in, as well as keep you up. So I really think that Guardians start to come into their own with this ability, and they become great raid tanks at this point on. Alright, so that's it for Warriors. Next we'll be going in with Brawlers, and starting with the Bruiser. For Bruisers at level 52, we get Stone Deaf. So Stone Deaf is essentially it's an interesting skill. It's a stone skin for non-physical damage. So essentially it's saving you from AoEs, any sort of single target non-physical spells. So say you're tanking in a raid and there's like some like ice comet type ability that's coming at you. You can use this. It has to be greater than 30% of the target's max health. So it's good for AoEs and it's good for single target spells. But there is some limited usage because it's only for non-physical. But if you utilize it correctly, it can save your healers and yourself. The level 55 ability is called Sonic Punch. Cool thing about Sonic Punch is it is a blink. So like if I use this, boop, you see I actually teleport up to that person and do damage. So pretty interesting ability, good for mobility. Otherwise, it's just some damage. And then at level 58, you get Closed Mind. Again, ignore the green text, but essentially it just makes you immune. It's a self buff only, makes you immune to everything for 22 seconds. So root, stun, stifle, fear, daze, and mez. And also if you are stunned and stifled, and you can actually use this to get out of it, and then you will stay immune for that duration. This definitely is augmented by AAs as well over time, so pretty good ability for Bruisers. Up next, let's talk a little bit about Monks. For Monks at level 52, you get Outward Calm. So this is pretty much just honestly, it's just a worse Stone Deaf. Instead of stone skins, you end up getting a self ward for non-physical. So as you can see, it says wards caster for X amount of elemental, noxious, and arcane damage. Still a good spell though, and it can definitely save your healers some mana and healing for AoEs or single target non-physical hits. Now at level 55, Tsunami. The insaneness of Tsunami is pretty crazy. So it's a class-defining skill for sure. It essentially just makes you immune to physical damage for a little bit of time, while allowing you to riposte everything from the front. Which riposte, if you didn't know, it actually does some damage back to the mobs that you're riposting, and you parry from all other quadrants. It also makes you immune to strike through. Later expansions, some of the mobs have strike through, which means that if you do parry or riposte, they can still strike through that and deal more damage or deal damage to you. But it makes you immune to strike through. So overall, this is just crazy. In terms of just uses for this, in raids, it's great. Like say your main tank goes down, you can rescue it, take control of the mob, hit Tsunami, and then be immune to damage for a bit of time while they res the main tank, get it buffed up, and then he has time to grab the mob back. And also just, every now and then, just if you need to mitigate damage, maybe a mob is going into like an enrage or like a rampage type situation, being able to take that and or take the mob and let it essentially do no damage to you while other tanks would get wrecked. So just overall, Tsunami is just a great skill. And finally at 58, you get Fall of the Phoenix, which is just another FD. So you have your single target FD, but this FD actually FDs your entire group. And it does have, you know, a 3-minute cooldown, but it's really nice. It's got some limited usage, but like say you're training around a zone and someone who's following you gets aggro, well, you can drop the entire group, save everyone. Also in raids, say if you're wiping and you know, you're pretty far into the zone, you don't want to run everyone back, well, you can FD your group and you know, save your healer, and then you can res the raid without having to run back. Alright, so that's it for monks. Finally, we will finish up with the Crusaders, starting with the Shadow Knight. At level 52, Shadow Knights get Mana Sieve. This is a really good ability. It's single target damage and damage over time, but it also increases your power over time. Tanks have a tendency to struggle often with mana issues, so this helps SKs keep their power up. Also, you know, it's a fair amount of DPS, so pretty fair ability. At level 55, if SKs didn't need any more blue AoEs, this is a blue AoE that also life taps. So it's just another AoE ability for their arsenal. It definitely increases their value as off tanks, great for group tanks as well, and DPS. And then finally, and this is a class defining skill for SKs as well, and it's Death March. So Death March is really good. It essentially, when you cast it, it applies this buff called On the March, which on live servers, this is live again, it increases your double cast, fervor, and max health, while also making you and everyone in your group immune to root, stifle, stun, fear, and daze. Now on the TLE servers, I believe this is just cast speed, and I don't think it also has the fervor on it. May not even have the max health as well. But the immunity to everything is super good. It's just like Sanctuary. But it's, as you can see, the duration is actually 1 minute on this, and the reason for that is within those 10 seconds, if you actually kill something, so say you're in a group session, you kill something, it actually refreshes the On the March buff. So say you're 8 seconds into the buff, and then you kill something, it refreshes that buff, so 10 more seconds. So this lasts for a whole minute. So as long as you're killing things, so like if you're in a raid and you're doing AoE packs, or you are in, you know, a group setting and you're killing AoE things, you're going to constantly have this buff up. So you're going to constantly be immune, and you're also going to have these extra buffs that it gives you. Again, I can't remember the exact buffs. I'm testing these on heroic characters, but I believe it's cast speed. Alright, that's it for SKs. Let's move on to our last class, and that is Paladin. At level 52, Paladins get Sigil of Heroism, which is a pretty, it's an alright spell. It essentially just gives you more aggro transfer for a limited amount of time from the entire group. So as you can see at Adept, it transfers 40%. I believe it's even more at Master. But for a short duration, you can get more hate from your group. I would say it's like just an average spell. With the mins, most of the time you don't even need it. At level 55 though, you get Consecrate. Consecrate is a super interesting spell. It does AoE damage, and then every X amount of seconds it does more AoE damage. As you can see, there's this little pulsating animation around me. It's I think it's, honestly I would say it's like it's a cool class defining skill. Only Paladins get this, and it looks really cool as it's pulsating. So with AAs and such, it gets better, but I believe it's every 3 seconds starting out. Looks super cool, does pretty decent damage, and it's a good AoE for Paladins to add to their arsenal. And then finally at level 58, you get Divine Favor. This is the Paladin's self DI. It's until cancelled and has a 1 minute and 30 second recast, so it's pretty nice. The only issue with it is, so at Master, I believe it heals you for 80% of your max health, which is really good, actually. But whenever you are revived, it dazes and stifles you for 12 seconds. This says for 0 seconds because I'm sure there's AAs into it, but it leaves you stifled and dazed for 12 seconds. So if you have a Signet, or if you have Sanctuary up, it's no big deal. But 12 seconds of essentially being able to do no damage or anything, you're just relying on your group to be able to keep you up and make sure that no one steals aggro. Still pretty good in terms of the amount it heals for. 80% of max health is pretty nice. Well, that's it for tanks. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So what are you guys planning on playing in DOF? Any ideas on what your main's going to be yet? Let me know in the comments below. If you'd like this video and you like this type of content, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications when new content is available. I'm going to be doing mages next, so I hope to see you there. But thanks again. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you later.